Tonight on Oxygen Tango Live, a deep dive into vaccines with the triumphant return of Dr. Dong Sung An. Coming up. Welcome back to Oxygen Tango Live. Megan, how's it going?
Dave, going pretty good. Thanks for asking. How you doing?
I wonder how many shows it's been now. It's got to be at least 40. I mean, we were doing more than once a week at the beginning, but we've certainly missed a few weeks. But I feel like it's been averaging about one a week.
We're in the mid-40s right now.
Mid-40s, wow. And this is, well, we used to have more repeat guests at the beginning, but since we just switched to the kind of pure single interview format, I believe we've only had one returning guest, and that is today.
Yes. Well, we had Sachin and Nayan both on a few times.
Yeah.
There in the beginning, but Dong Sung's the only person to get 2 full hours.
As we always mention around this time, we are streaming on YouTube and Facebook. If you'd like to join the chat, we recommend YouTube. It's usually a more robust chat. If for some reason the stream should go out, you can usually just wait a couple minutes and it'll come back on. Very occasionally you'll have to find a new stream either on our YouTube or Facebook page, but that hasn't happened in a while. Very excited to bring on tonight's guest. This is often, actually, well, Megan, you and Dong Sung have actually, for a while they were playing tennis matches, so we were talking a lot about him.
Yeah, but no, we don't talk about those anymore because Dong Sung wins or almost wins on a regular basis, and I was liking it better when I was able to brag every week that I won. So.
You only wanted to discuss it when you were winning all the matches?
Yes.
I guess that's understandable. We have switched to a format where Megan and I would take turns interviewing the guests solo so as to get in a little bit more depth. Since Dong Sung is coming on for the second time, it's going to be a little bit less of a personal exploration of his life, a little bit more about his expertise tonight. So Megan and I are going to do the interview together. We also, of course, welcome any questions in the chat that might come up. And so, without further ado, let's bring on Dong Sung. Here he is. Dong Sung, how are you tonight?
Hi, Dave and Megan. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Oxygen community.
I really appreciate the pure white background, just unadorned, focused.
Right, yes. I created for my official UCLA lectures teaching style. I wanted to make it very simple.
It is simple, so there can be no distractions from the words that...
Right. Yeah.
I don't want to bury the lead. Can I just ask right off the bat, Dong Sung, do you know when we'll be tango dancing again?
Okay. That is a tough question to begin with. If everything goes well, I am very optimistic that it may happen next year around this time. So we just need to be patient. So my prediction is if several vaccines are available, we may be able to get it by spring or summer. Then we have to wait to generate immunity against coronavirus. And if it's highly efficacious, if it's effective, then possibly around before holiday season, we may be able to start dancing.
Okay, so you think still a year from today, so not necessarily summer, maybe more like fall.
Potentially earliest in the fall, but I would say realistically probably just before holiday season. So
Got
that's
it.
my prediction. But it may change. You never know, right? Especially the the first two vaccines that showed very early preliminary data for efficacy. Those are based on synthetic RNA, and it's a very new method to generate vaccines. And thanks to the advance of science, now we can create those vaccines purely from RNA molecules. So it doesn't take longer than previous vaccines. So I hope that production goes quickly and we can get more data for not only for effectiveness but also for safety. Then we will know much better about COVID vaccines for next 3 months to 6 months. Then we feel comfortable, getting those vaccines, and everybody feels, safe and willing to take vaccine. And if all of us take, the united effort, we should be able to, immunize all of us effectively. That will bring us back into tango dancing.
So we did just kind of jump out with the question of when we'll be back. Just to back up a second, for those of you that aren't familiar with Dong Sung or haven't seen his first appearance on the show, could you just quickly tell us who you are? Why are we asking you about the vaccines?
Oh yeah. Okay. Thanks for asking. Because I believe I started tango dancing at Oxygen. That's why you guys are asking.
Well, we have a lot. There's a lot of people that started tango at Oxygen. We don't ask them about the vaccines.
Oh, I
I
see.
wouldn't say that's reason number one. Yeah.
Well, that's probably the primary reason that you ask me. So you guys know I dance tango, but many of you may not know. I also do something different, which is research at UCLA. I research on HIV, human immunodeficiency virus infection, which causes acquired immunodeficiency disease. So I've been working on research project how to cure virus infection. So I'm not an expert for coronavirus or COVID-19, but I have a background of virus research. So therefore, I thought I could contribute to Oxygen and Tango community that we may get some information, like latest information about COVID vaccines.
So you haven't been working directly on the vaccines, but you've been following closely, and it's close to your area of expertise.
Right. I decided not to involve in corona vaccine research. As you know, the big pharmaceutical companies are pursuing the virus, vaccine research and quickly developing those vaccines, spending multi-million dollars. And that effort is amazing. And I admire, those efforts. And in my capacity, I don't think I can do it. And I have to give up tango dancing if I involved in developing, coronavirus vaccines. So
That seems like an easy choice.
Sure, yeah. Well, yeah, thank you. I just want to balance my life.
I understand. Well, solving AIDS is, maybe that's enough. You don't also have to solve the coronavirus.
Oh yeah. If I can solve HIV infection and cure, I'll be very happy. And if I can, know about coronavirus, that'll be fantastic. If I can come up with coronavirus vaccine, I'll be super happy, but I won't have time to dance tango.
I see. Okay, so the priorities are clear.
Well,
Tango, then AIDS vaccine, then coronavirus vaccine.
yeah, oxygen made my life very different.
You did. I don't know if I should say this on the show. We might have to delete it later, but you did confess once to me, or maybe I even heard it from someone else, that you admitted that your tango career had probably set the state of AIDS research back.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Slowed down the progress a little bit, just given how many nights you were spending at Milongas.
Well, please don't tell my students.
Luckily, we have a very
I actually will know how to
focused
feel about
viewership.
No, actually, tango is. I spend lots of time. Sometimes I spend till 5 a.m. In the milonga. Yeah, I sacrifice lots of time for research, but also give me a lot of energy.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's a win-win situation.
And it clears your mind, right? Maybe it gives you a break.
Well, yeah, we get oxytocin, right? Hormones.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
which is great for our life. So yeah, I'm very happy about doing research as well as finding time for tango. So it's not an easy task, but it's nice to have both in my life.
Here, here.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of questions as I'm sure many people do, surrounding the vaccines and the progress as we should expect it. I'm sure many people have seen in the news. I think the first one was the Pfizer vaccine came out, or maybe it was Moderna first that said they were 90% effective, and then Pfizer said they were 95% effective, and then Moderna says, well, now we're 95% effective. In the news lately, there's been something called AstraZeneca. There was some kind of scandal.
Uh-huh.
I didn't quite process exactly what was going on there. What happened with AstraZeneca? Do you know?
So AstraZeneca had some confusion in their phase 3 clinical trial. It is making some concern about data analysis. It was like some news that you can read in Science journal. So what happened is AstraZeneca and Oxford University decided to do a final phase 3 clinical trial in United Kingdom and Brazil. And there was some confusion and mistakes at the trial in United Kingdom that initial dose was only given a half amount than they planned, and then they realized, and then instead of discarding those initial half dose results, they kept it and they included in their interim preliminary analysis. So there are two different groups now. So the first group is the subject, people who got vaccines. They were given like the initially planned amount, right, for first dose and second dose. And second dose, the first dose was only half. So that created a lot of confusion.
I see.
So they announced that vaccine was about 62% efficacy when they analyzed data including both groups. And when they analyze only the group that received half amount of the vaccine, the efficacy was 90%. So many people wondering why the group that received the half amount of vaccine had higher, better efficacy.
It was actually more,
that,
okay.
That creates lots of confusion. And some scientists came up with an hypothesis that the half amount may be better. But it hasn't proven yet. The vaccine that was developed by AstraZeneca and Oxford University, they use another virus. It's called adenovirus from monkey, not from human. It's harmless to human, but it can infect human very well. So they genetically modified monkey-derived adenovirus to carry small portion of coronavirus protein. It's called the spike protein that is expressed on the membrane of virus particles. And the monkey-derived adenovirus, once injected into human, it can produce coronavirus protein. And because of the coronavirus protein expression, human immune system can generate anti-coronavirus immunity. That's how the vaccine works, right? But because the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine uses monkey adenovirus as a vaccine delivery system, there's some noise going on.
Yeah, Dave, the background noise is really loud.
Okay, I'll just mute it while you're answering the question and tell me if this helps.
Okay, it's better. So it is possible that human is also reacting against the monkey adenovirus, causing different types of immune reaction. So if the dose is too high, then human immune system may react more against the adenovirus than the coronavirus protein. So that's one hypothesis. But all of those analyses are very preliminary. Companies are rushing to announce and inform general public that they have generated data showing vaccine has a good efficacy to protect people from coronavirus infection.
So is there, do you think, kind of a pressure there? Is it just a coincidence that that we got all these results basically in the same week, or is it once Pfizer comes out, then AstraZeneca feels like, oh, we have to come out now too with our results?
Oh,
and
sure.
So you think that's making some of these labs rush a little bit with their results?
No, that's how science works.
Right.
It's all about competition.
And how
there's no doubt.
And how and so you said that they're using a kind of engineering this monkey virus for their delivery system or to activate the antibodies. Are all these vaccines working in very different ways? I mean, we see the results and they're similar, but ultimately, are we going to have 10 vaccines that are fundamentally quite different available to us, even though they're kind of promising the same results?
It's very possible. And I believe we're not going to have 10 vaccines. If we were able to have 1 or 2 or maybe 3 vaccines that is highly efficacious and safe, and that's it. We don't need any more. So we
Why
just
do we
need
even need 3? Like, why?
3?
Yeah, why even have 3?
Because each vaccine has, some negative effect or some, pros and cons. Pros
I
and
see.
cons, right? For example, 2 RNA vaccines by Moderna and Pfizer, and they have to keep the vaccine at 4 degree and stable for about 1 or 2 months, right? Pfizer vaccine, on the other hand, it has to be kept at minus 70 degree. It's very cold.
I see.
So they are, informing us that they're gonna ship using dry ice. And
Wow.
Oxford vaccine, AstraZeneca, on the other hand, they are saying that on the Moderna vaccine, going back to Moderna vaccine can be stored at minus 20 degree, the regular freezer. And Oxford vaccine, AstraZeneca, it can be stored at 4 degree. So obviously, AstraZeneca has an advantage
I see.
for storage and shipping, and also the price. Price-wise, AstraZeneca, a vaccine, they are estimating one shot is about $3 to $4.
I see.
But the Moderna, Pfizer, maybe $20.
And so I think on the last show you mentioned that there were kind of 10 or 20 at least institutions that were attempting to develop a vaccine, but you say that we're going to end up just with 2 or 3. So does that mean that all the other ones are just going to kind of drop out at a certain point?
Yeah.
And they'll just
Yes.
chalk that up to experience. They won't.
Right.
They won't. That'll just be money down the drain, basically. Once there's
Sure.
effective vaccines available.
Right.
I see.
I don't know how many that we required, how many that we need at the end, but obviously we don't need 20 or 30 different vaccines.
And once and so if we have one that's clearly cheaper and more effective than the other ones, we would just produce that one mostly, right?
Right.
Or do you think that it will be more balanced worldwide? Which ones we're using?
Well, depending on, I don't think one vaccine can solve all the problems, from what I understand. For example, like Pfizer vaccine with 70-degree storage requirement, that can be distributed probably in a big city in United States, but probably not in a small city, or Africa, or third world countries, or tropical area.
Okay.
So each vaccine has their own characteristics. So that will determine where to distribute and how it's effective, and also we also need to consider, this is very important issue, what is the unwanted side effect, which one has most efficacy and less side effect, right?
Are
No
the
one
side
wants
effects known yet of any
Oh
of
yeah,
the
yes,
vaccines?
yes. There are publications from previous phase 1 clinical trial showing there are some local side effect at the injection site, and also systemic side effect and severe adverse effect, right? And each has different grades. For example, the easiest one is the local, effect is you get pain, right, from needle stick, and then you will get muscle pain. Systemically, you may get fever, like 38 degree Celsius to 39 degree. You may get chill. So basically like the flu kind of symptom, because vaccine try to mimic the virus infection, so your immune system is reacting against it. and generating immune reaction against coronavirus. So it is highly possible that we will experience coronavirus infected or flu-like symptom because body immune cells are producing cytokines, interferons. Those can increase your temperature or muscle pain, which we have to really understand.
What does that mean for people who are like immunocompromised? Like, so if people who are immunocompromised, are they able to get flu vaccines?
Right. So that's another concern. The study design of the current vaccines are healthy volunteers from age 18 to, I think, 55 years old. So we don't know
Wow.
if we can vaccinate immunocompromised people and
Or even elderly people, it sounds
well,
like.
it seems like within an age group that participated in a clinical trial, the vaccine seems to work very well for any age group, which is a great sign. But we don't know that people who have, like as you said, like, health background, right? Like immunodeficiency, or who are treated with chemotherapy for cancer, or who have autoimmune disease or diabetes. Those we don't have data.
Right. And there's no data for like long-term effects of this vaccine either.
Yeah.
Is that like how will they know that like this thing doesn't in a year like cause sterility or paralysis, you know? Is there
Unfortunately, the coronavirus infection spread and the vaccine development started like about 11 months ago, right? So we have to wait for a long-term effect. And there was a mixed, result and publication showing the immune reaction against the coronavirus may not last for a long time, which suggests the vaccine may not last for a long time effect.
just like a flu vaccine, right?
No, it's different. It's kind of different though. But yesterday there was a publication showing that most of the infected people in a small study showing at least they are maintaining immune system or immune reaction against coronavirus, COVID-19, up to 6 months.
6 months, okay.
6 months.
I remember that was one of the things we talked about the first time you came on the show. You discussed a number of questions that were still very unclear, and one of them was how can you get it twice? How long does the immune response last? But now you feel like we have a little bit more clarity there, and it's at least 6 months.
Right, and it is also true that some people get coronavirus infection twice, which is not surprising because in human there are at least 4 different coronaviruses even before COVID-19, and they causes mild flu symptom like fever, muscle ache, but it was not that efficient to spread so quickly. But coronaviruses are, infecting human for a long time, and unfortunately, they never go away, suggesting that people get coronavirus infection maybe every single year. So immune system may not last for a long time. That was the biggest fear. So that leads into still an unknown question. The vaccine efficacy data was published after 2 months of vaccine injection into those participated people. Um, so it's great that we know now that we can inhibit getting disease or getting COVID infection at 62% to 95% range. But that's within two months, right? So we don't know whether that will last for a long time or not. We just need to patiently wait for more long-term result.
And what is the so when you say it'll be a year before conditions would allow us to dance tango again, which I would guess is one of the last things in society that will come back to normal is tango dancing, since there is so much physical contact with so many different people involved. What is the
Sure.
main bottleneck? What are the main hurdles that's going to cause that delay? Is it just testing getting FDA approval, making sure the vaccine is safe? Is it the production of the vaccine? Is it the distribution of the vaccine? Is it the fact that we need to take the vaccine a few times? What is the main? What's going to take the most time, or are those things more equally weighted?
I think there are multiple major hurdles that still exist. We just start hearing great news about highly efficacy data. So multiple hurdles that we need to clear. Obviously, the first is the safety. The most important thing is safety, because now we know efficacy is so good, right? And then second is the production, and also public perception, and distributing the correct information to people, that people feels comfortable, willing to take those vaccines. And if only 10 or 20% of us are willing to take vaccines, then as a society, it's not going to work.
And if we can, so what is? So presumably, people that have had COVID, they effectively have taken the vaccine on some level, right? I mean, they've had the immune response.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're adding up the percentage of the population that has immunity, we would add the people that have taken the vaccine to the people that have contracted COVID. What percentage do we need to get to where the virus can no longer thrive in the population and might just start disappearing? Is that something that can happen? And if so, how many people have to have this immune response in order for us to really see a drastic reduction in the spread of COVID?
For this virus, I predict it's gonna be very high.
So like 60 or 70
or even higher.
Wow. Okay.
Maybe because this virus, unfortunately, has mutated to spread very quickly and easily. So I would think 90 or 95%.
Wow. Actually have to either get COVID or take the vaccine. So if we have 20% of the people refusing to take the vaccine, then we're not going to have herd immunity until all those people get coronavirus, basically.
Right. Even 95, 90%. I don't think SARS-CoV virus 2 is gonna extinct. It's gonna stay forever.
Wow.
You can think about the measles viruses. Measles. We have effective vaccines, but measles never disappear, right? If we do not vaccinate some population of people in the area, then outbreaks happens.
Do you think that the
there is only one virus infection that has been completely eradicated by a vaccine. Only one.
That's smallpox?
Yeah.
Okay.
Others are not. Even we have effective vaccine, the virus will not extinct zero, unfortunately.
Do you think that as time goes on, the vaccines will get more effective? So even if coronavirus is here to stay, maybe in 5 years we have a vaccine that provides longer immunity or is easier to administer. Will they keep improving the vaccines, or it's just sort of once you have it, you
Sure,
have it?
possibly. Yeah. If our society continue to struggle, vaccine research needs to continue. And eventually, I hope that we can come up with safe, highly effective, easy distributable vaccine that we can, we can vaccinate people with confidence. So that is the goal. But it's a very difficult task to do that.
Dongsung, how do I know, so it's next spring or whatever, and the vaccines are rolling out. I'm just curious, so what is that going to look? I'm not somebody who has a regular doctor. I just go to the doctor when I'm really sick. So I'm guessing I'll go to my own doctor. I'll go to a CVS or a public health clinic of some kind to get that vaccine. How do I know if I should take it or not? How do I know if it is reliable? If I have good information about what the risks are? How will people know that it's just sort of? Is there any situation in which a vaccine is being widely distributed and you can't trust it?
Yeah, so that's a very important point. Initially, I understand that it is very difficult to get those vaccines because of the lack of information, especially for long term. So if you do not feel comfortable, I would suggest to wait till summer.
Would you feel comfortable taking it in the spring, for instance, or would you personally want to wait more time to see what happens?
I would wait 2 to 3 months. Then I'll make a decision by then. The results of the final phase 3 clinical trials have not been published yet. It's going to be published. So I want to take a look at those raw data to make a decision. And by then, we will know more about safety and long-term effect. And then also, you have to really think about what is the risk and benefit ratio. No vaccine is perfect. We want to have a perfect vaccine, 100% efficiency, no side effect. That's not going to happen. So we have to think about what is the benefit for you and for the society. And so that makes a decision to take a vaccine or not. So in order to do that, we have to study the actual results, the data. Data is everything. It's not from news from Facebook or chat or anything. Scientific data, safety data, those will tell us what to do.
So it's possible that there's a situation in which the vaccine is available, but that you might want to think twice about taking it. I think that's what I'm trying to get at. Will there come a time in which I can get the vaccine, but I might want to still do my own research and consider before I just go and get it?
Yeah, but by then I
Because
think.
I don't with like the flu vaccine, right? Like I haven't done my own research on whether the flu
Uh-huh.
vaccine is safe for me
Right.
to get. I just go and get it.
Yeah, it's very challenging because it's very new, the vaccine for COVID and whole situation about this virus infection for us is very new. So lots of anxiety and fear, totally understandable. But as we generate more data and evidence, I think people uh, can feel comfortable if the data looks good. So we just
Okay.
need to wait for that. Right now, there are still so many unknown that I told you that multiple hurdles needs to be cleared. So
Yeah.
those are the
But
milestones.
they're shipping out like 6 million. I read that Pfizer was shipping out like 6 million of these vaccinations, like starting in December.
Yeah. But FDA hasn't provided any go ahead sign, even
I see.
for emergency usage,
Mm.
which highly likely happen soon. Um, but this is very unusual time for vaccine development. Um, Companies and governments are taking a risk, rushing um, the production of unauthorized,
I
unknown
see.
vaccines because
I see.
they they think this is like a real threat for human, not only for health, but also for economy. So if we wait longer and longer, we're gonna have lots of difficulties in financially. Um, so that's gonna be a big problem. So companies are rushing, and I'll tell you that even the data that is very preliminary, lots of unknown still exist, but I am very, very optimistic. This is amazing that vaccines that is totally created by a new technology of synthetic RNA or monkey adenovirus vectors. This is the first time ever to utilize those new technology and showing 90% efficiency is like unbelievable to me.
That and in just 11 months or whatever it was, in 9 months.
Right. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's yeah. Usually vaccine development takes 5 to 10 or 20 years.
Right. Was
This
it
Wow.
HIV vaccine never happened.
was was
Even 30 years of research.
was this acceleration? Was it mostly just these companies making the investment themselves, or was it related to investments by the government? Was that a big factor here?
Both are big factors.
Both are
Uh,
factors. Okay.
NIH, National Institute of Health, government chipped in to as a grant for Moderna's vaccine development. Pfizer paid for it by company itself, and AstraZeneca, Oxford, I have no idea. Um, so
It's a mix.
yeah,
We have a question from Sachin in the chat. What does Dong Sung think the quality of life will be for the elderly, like my mother who has asthma, in 2 years? Will she always be confined to her home because efficacy will never be 100%?
well, as I said, it really depends on how the frequency of coronavirus infection in a society, you know, goes down by vaccination. If it's 99%, then people who are at high risk, even like vaccine works for high risk people, they they they, they maybe or they should be able to go out and have a normal life. But if the efficacy or the number of people taking the vaccine is only like 20% or 40%, 50%. The virus is still smoldering around and getting infection. For example, like Los Angeles County, we had like 400 combat infection today. So it's lower than 10% lower, tenfold lower than now. But if those situations continue even after vaccination, then elderly people or people who have health conditions, they may think about twice whether they can go back to normal life or not.
So it's not just the efficacy of the vaccine; it's the penetration of the vaccine in the society that is a big factor.
Right, totally.
I'm really curious. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, and also we have to monitor, how frequent the COVID infection cases, daily cases, like will spread and go over every single day.
So I think we've all noticed that the cases and deaths seem to be spiking almost everywhere now. I can't get a clear sense of why that is. Some people say it's because of the weather, more people are indoors. Some people say, well, people aren't they're not being careful anymore. Some people say, well, they're traveling for the holidays. What is the main factor? Why has there been such an increase in the last month or so, in your opinion?
So there are many factors. Being cold, virus is more stable in cold weather, and people stay indoor in a closed, environment. So there's a more chance of getting, virus infection. So those can be main factors. And there was some articles in New York Times. They categorized like highly risky activities and like middle risky activities and low risky activities, and high risk activities are like all indoor activities. So I think those are contributing it, and especially Thanksgiving and holiday seasons are coming, and although we have a great news about highly effective vaccine, but it's not ready yet. So we have to be patient at least for next 6 months.
Why is LA shutting down outdoor dining then?
Well, it's getting very cold. I think some of the restaurants are, putting, vinyl curtains.
It's not really outdoor dining.
Yeah.
Closing it.
So it can be very difficult to, control every single restaurant, right? So obviously, takeout is safer choice.
So, in your opinion, like being outside with someone without a mask on, even if you're close together.
Well, I think the distance is very important.
Even if you're outside.
Yeah, if it's close, there's a potential to transmit viruses.
How should we be thinking about this? As people, it felt very clear at the beginning of the pandemic what you should and shouldn't do, because we were allowed to do nothing.
Right.
Really. Now it's much less clear, and I constantly feel really confused and conflicted about how to calculate how risky things are and what's okay and what's not okay. How are you thinking about that?
Well, there's no clear, answers, but I would suggest to follow recommendation from CDC. But also, we are human being that we get fatigue, COVID fatigue, because it is getting too long. So, and I admit that I also make mistakes sometimes. I want to see my friends, going to some house parties. We cannot 100% strictly avoid that, but we have to judge based on how much risk and what we can do. That is, I still wanted to follow the recommendation from Center for Disease Control, CDC.
What are the current recommendations? Sorry, Dave.
Go ahead.
Well, it's like a 6 feet distance.
It's still the same.
Like
6 feet.
less, 6 feet distance, and house party is less than 10 people or 5 people, right? And the LA County has also their strict rules as well.
Have you, in your opinion, do you think that well, first of all, at the state level, the attitudes of the state governments, the policies that they're implementing, is making a huge difference state to state in how the virus is spreading? And then I guess I would also ask at the national level. I know, some people really feel, well, if we didn't politicize masks and if we had a more coherent strategy and messaging from the beginning, maybe we'd be in a better position. And then other people would say, well, look at all these countries in Europe, they're having massive spikes also, and they had more consistent messaging. Do you think that's actually a major factor in the severity and the spread of the disease right now? Or do people just kind of read the news and make their own decisions? Would we be in a totally different situation if masks had not become politicized, if there had been a more coherent and clear message at the federal level from the beginning? Would it have made a significant difference in your opinion?
I would think so. It probably made a huge difference if we implement initially very strictly about what to do. For example, like there are several highly successful countries like Taiwan, right? So they have a very strict rule.
Sure.
Quarantine and also tracing people's, trafficking by, cell phones. And whenever the cluster happened, then they just track, right? And now their public schools are open. Children goes to the school, and they can dance. So some countries are like that, like New Zealand. But as you see, those countries are very small.
Right.
Very, very small. United States, it's huge. And Europe, Union, it's all connected. And I think we have more difficulties.
Has the spread of the virus in the U.S. been comparable to Europe, or
I think Europe initiated first, and the U.S. catched up and then became a number one in the world.
Number one.
So, yeah. So we want to be number one.
always.
Yeah.
Number one at everything shitty.
No. It's a very interesting country. But I think we have to be very careful for next 6 months, especially for this holiday season.
And then, so an idea, I think you covered some of this already, but just as we're wrapping up here, just to give people an idea of what this timeline might look like. So you're saying maybe another 6 months or so of research to make sure that the virus is effective and it's safe, it doesn't have unexpected long-term effects, and then we might start to see some kind of distribution. Is that seem like roughly the timeline that you predict?
Yeah, for like general, public, yes. I think that vaccine distribution for like general public or tango dancers, probably in like June.
And then you'll have to so you'll go to your doctor, or you'll go to CVS, you'll go to your HMO,
Uh-huh.
you'll get a shot, and then you'll have to
I
get
heard
another.
I heard it's free. It's free for US people.
It'll be
People
free.
in United States. Yeah, it's
Okay.
free.
And
Yeah.
then you have to get another shot.
Yeah, second shot.
A second shot. Just two.
Right, 2 shots, yes.
Okay. And then you have to wait for everyone to get the shot, or to everyone to get their second shot before you can start to resume normal activities, or how does that work?
No, I think we have to monitor the frequency of infection and also the severe cases in the city that you are residing. So that will determine
I see.
whether we can go back to normal activities or not.
So once you've had your second shot, you can't just say, "Well, now I'm vaccinated. I can go to parties. I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to pass it to anybody." It's not that simple.
That's not that simple.
Okay. So what is the flaw?
After-
What would be the flaw in that reasoning for me? Well, I can't get it. I can't pass it to anyone. Why shouldn't I?
Right. For example, you got 2 shots. You have to wait a little bit to make sure that you are generating enough immune system against coronavirus. And second, you don't know how many people in your party that have been, vaccinated. So, um, uh, s- so those are key factors to know. And then even after you vaccinated, let's say 90% efficacy, if you are very careful, you may be in the 10% group that even you got 2 shots, you may not have coronavirus immune system.
So you might need another procedure to make sure that the vaccine was effective for you personally.
Well, some people never develop immune system against coronavirus, even vaccinated. The reaction against coronavirus vaccines are totally different in each individual.
I see.
Because each individual has different immune background. So you never know whether your immune system will react against coronavirus vaccine and produce.
So even after you get the shots, you'll have to have like another test or like
So-
another check to see
That'd
if
be
it's
good.
working.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
think
almost like really a 3-step process then, almost.
Yeah, that will confirm you have antibodies against coronavirus. But it's gonna become very expensive to have a test for every single individual after vaccination. So that's not gonna happen.
Wow. Well, God, I have a lot more questions, but that really flew by. You have so much information for us. We might have to do another one of these in another 4 months. Maybe we should just close up. We do have a last question from Sri Ram, saying maybe if there's time. Oh, well, he did have a comment. Maybe I'll just read the comment first. He says, even with vaccination, you can shed through nasal and oral secretions. Vaccination reduces impact of infection personally. Do you have any comment on that?
That totally possible. It really depending on how effective the vaccine is. Is it just reducing the chance of getting severe symptom, or is it very effective that completely eradicate the virus from the body, or is it like intermediate that people don't get sick, like asymptomatic carrier, but still, producing
Oh,
viruses?
I see.
We don't know.
So we still have to answer those questions, and they might vary a little bit from person to person.
Oh yeah, totally different. We are very different. Each person's immune system is very different.
Well, maybe we'll just close out on a non-vaccine note then. Sriram asks, maybe if there is time, you can ask the professor about his hobbies, motorcycles, climbing. I don't know if he just meant generally or what they might be on a different timeline than Tango, or maybe
Oh,
maybe
sure.
he's just wondering how you're keeping busy these days.
Oh, I just bought minivan.
Oh, wow.
Well,
Why?
I'm gonna convert into a camping van.
Wow.
Neat.
Cool.
I bought it last Saturday, and I just bought a portable lithium battery and solar recharging system, so I can go off the road for many days.
Oh no, we're not going to see you for Dongsung's going to disappear off the grid, and we're not going to see you for months.
Going
Oh,
rogue.
I will carry my computer so we can still do Skype.
Oh, so we could still do the show at least. You could do the.
That's why I bought a portable recharge system and a solar system,
Okay.
so I can have electricity even I am in nowhere in the desert.
So our next show, you'll have a campfire behind you, and you'll be in an undisclosed location. You'll be hooked up to the lithium battery.
Yeah, I'll have a beer and a barbecue.
And so,
Take me with you.
can you put
Yeah.
the motorcycle on the van, or you have to
No,
choose?
my motorcycle is unfortunately too heavy, so I cannot do that. I bought a very small minivan because I don't want to have a big one. So I need to hike instead of riding a motorcycle, which is okay.
And what about climbing? That seems like a good activity for these days.
Oh yeah, sure.
People are still climbing and doing that.
Oh yeah, it became so popular.
Right, climbing and tennis, I guess. We really developed an appreciation.
Tennis is good too.
Yeah.
I miss playing tennis with you guys.
Yeah,
By
us
the way,
too.
yeah, I just started surfing.
Oh really? Oh, okay. Oh right. Yeah, we heard about that.
Yeah, and it's quite challenging.
Yeah.
I learned so much. It's not easy. There is some similarity to Tango, line of dance. So there is
Balance.
a line.
Really?
Yeah, there is a line of surfing.
Right.
So I was kicked out because I didn't follow.
Oh right. Yeah, you get in big trouble if you. What is the word?
Oh.
What is the word when you take someone's wave, or you get in someone's way?
Oh yeah, drop in.
Okay.
Snaking.
Oh, snaking.
So-
Okay.
Yeah, I did drop in, and I was kicked out.
Oh really?
Wow.
So they're as nice to their beginners as the tango dancers are, I guess.
Well, it's the same thing.
same thing, right? If you
I
can't,
got kicked out many times in line of the dance in tango when I was a beginner. So
you're gonna get in your van. You're gonna scour the coast looking for the perfect wave for the next year, and until we've reached 98% herd immunity, and then you'll come back and dance tango.
I hope so. By then, I can be a good surfer. Right now, I feel like I am beginner. That reminds me of my great time at the Oxygen Tango of doing Oxygen Challenge.
Okay, well maybe they need a surf
Yeah.
challenge.
I feel like suffering, drinking lots of ocean water.
Oh no. Wow. Okay. Well, that all brings it. Yeah. The beginner mind, right? It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. But I'm exponentially improving, so I'm very happy.
Good. You're on the very productive part of the learning curve before you plateau. And
Right. Yeah.
It's something I really admire about you, Dongsung. You're always going after new things and taking on huge new learning challenges all of the time.
Oh yes. Life is too short. You guys, we need to enjoy.
totally agree.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, that was.
Looking forward to play tennis again soon.
We are too.
Yeah.
I think we should have a bigger group.
Okay.
Tennis is totally safe during the COVID.
Right.
So
Well, maybe we could play some 3-on-3. We've only been playing doubles, but if we go to three or four people on a side, then you'd really have to be precise with your shots.
I will bring my minivan with refrigerator
Oh,
and
good.
barbecue.
Okay.
Wow.
So we're gonna have tennis, and I will bring a shower too, so you can take shower.
Perfect. I can't wait.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for giving, especially on Thanksgiving evening, giving us another hour of your time. Certainly very informative for me, and I'm sure the viewers learned a lot too. It's so hard to get reliable and clear information these days. I think it's just, yeah, it's really helpful for me to just hear you lay out what to expect in such a clear and measured.
And it was nice to hear the good news too. I mean, there's been so little good news about the pandemic. To hear that, it's a little bit short of a miracle how fast they got it done, and with this new technology, and
Sure.
yeah, maybe
Yeah. There's a
there's some
good,
hope.
no? There's a potential implication of the new technology to make vaccines. This is the first time tested in human. So now we may be able to apply the new technology, develop different vaccines for like influenza or cancer vaccines. So there's a big hope that we may be able to come up with vaccine development more quickly.
Could be a silver lining there. Just this mobilization of resources maybe would pay off for many years.
Sure.
Well, that's a good note to end on, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dong Sung. Have a great Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thank you.
And we will see you all, I think, next week, right, Megan?
Yes.
Great. Okay. Good night, everybody.
Night.
Night, everybody.
Bye-bye.